Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is not your regular Angular tutorial video. Um, I have been making such videos for quite some time, took a bit of a break and I'm trying to be consistent again. And the reason for today's video is because I would like to give a bit of an introduction to whoever watches my videos of as to who I am and why am I making these videos in the first place, what is it that I do, and what makes me, I believe, qualified or to be in a position to be making educational content related to Angular in particular and software engineering in general. Uh, and I personally believe that this video will probably serve as somewhat of a motivation to anyone who's trying to get started in the software domain. So yeah, I won't take much of your time and I'll get started. So yeah, my name is Moeed. I am working as a full stack software engineer here in Australia. I'm based in Sydney, and I've been working in the software engineering domain for about 3.5 to 4 years. Um, with the recent tech layoffs and everything that has been happening globally with the economic uncertainty, it gets really easy to be discouraged. It's very hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I would like to give a brief background of my own journey so as to tell you guys or whoever it is that who has been recently laid off or is just trying to make, you know, just trying to establish themselves in this field, that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. It's always possible, and just keep trying, and before you know it, something good will show up. So yeah, I didn't do my majors in software engineering. My majors were in mechanical engineering, and after doing my majors in mechanical engineering, I I couldn't find a job in my own field of mechanical engineering, and the jobs which I did found were not something that I um, were, was particularly fond of, because I was always more on the technical side, and I always wanted to use my technical skills to probably make something or create something, or was always into doing calculations and all of that stuff. But yeah, obviously that mm, the field of mechanical engineering didn't turn out right for me. So in 2019, because I did graduate in 2017 and I worked in field of mechanical engineering for a year. In 2019, I took up my first programming course, which was a course on introduction to Python. I had never written a line of code. I didn't even know what coding was before that. But yeah, after getting in touch with a few people and just trying to make sense of what the future holds, where the world is heading, I got I realized that everything's going online, everything's going digital. IT is going to be the next big thing, and I was like, yeah, might as well just give this a try. Uh, so I took up my first course on introduction to Python in 2019. That was the first time in my life that I had ever written a single line of code, and slowly and steadily, and I was not in Australia. This was in my home country of Pakistan. I'm talking about Pakistan. So in 2019, I took up this course. I started learning Python. I started learning to code, and eventually, slowly and steadily, I worked my way through that course, and now I had these programming skills, which I wanted to possibly use and you know implement somewhere. So I started applying to these internships, junior level roles in my country of Pakistan. Most of them were unpaid, and I did land into this junior level uh, data analyst role. It was not a software engineering role. I was mostly using Python to do data extraction, data analysis, all of that stuff, using libraries such as NumPy, Pandas, all of that stuff. I was not doing any sort of software engineering whatsoever. But eventually, after working in that role for 6 months, I realized that, and to be honest, I didn't know what I had to do with my coding skills. I was not still on the right path. I mean, I knew I had learned a little bit of coding using Python, but I I was not on the software engineering side uh, of Python. I was more working on the data analyst, data science part of things, even though that's a very strong term. Um, Eventually, I realized that data analysis of that stuff is good, but this is not what I want to use Python for. Um, and yeah, I just started applying to software engineering roles in particular. Uh, and I didn't even know what back and front end was back in there, to be honest. I didn't know what an API is, what a database is, just really, really new. And then I took up a course on Django. That this is about 2020. I took up a course on late 2020. I took up a course on getting started with Django, started learning Django, started creating APIs, and there was about a 40-hour boot camp. And after working through my way through Django, and we're in 2021 right now, I did have a few uh, people whom I got in touch with using LinkedIn, and I don't know what it was. I don't know whether it was luck, but in 2021 I landed uh, a, an internship or junior level back-end developer role with a startup based out of the United States. Worked there for a good 7 8 months, which helped me really sharpen my skills. But the only problem was that after working with them for 7 8 months, uh, I realized I had to move forward. Uh, and yeah, so in late 2021, I joined another startup. Now, now I was somewhat, or I would say not proficient. I was still an average level back end. Well, I didn't know a lot. I didn't know anything, but I still landed this role with another startup based out of the United States. But it was not just back end. I had to do the front end side of things as well, which was Angular, and that is my first time coding with Angular. And in yeah, so I worked in that position for 7 8 months. It does sound easy, but I'm just trying to summarize my entire journey, so as to not drag this video out for long. And 7 8 months working on Angular, working on Django, GraphQL, REST, I was somewhat in a position to apply for roles to better companies. I would say luck played a role in this. I got a visa issued. It was a work visa to Australia. It's a 476 work visa. And because of that visa, I was in a position to apply to jobs in Australia, which I did, and which eventually landed me my role with my current company here in Australia. So yeah, and I'm still learning, still a student, still trying to establish myself as a legitimate software engineer. There's just too much to learn. I personally believe my journey hasn't even started in this field because there's just too many domains, too many things to get a grasp of. So yeah, for anyone who's struggling or who's trying to get started, just know that you never know what life holds for you. I didn't even have my majors in software engineering. I didn't even My majors were not in software engineering; they were in mechanical engineering. And during my majors, I never written a line of code. I didn't even know what coding was. That was something which was completely alien to me. So for those software engineering graduates or even people who are trying to make a transition, it's always possible provided you stick to your goal, you're consistent, and you just don't give up. That's it. That's the only tip I have. If you just don't give up, it eventually it eventually happens. Whatever it is that you're looking for, it eventually comes. And yeah, so I'll try to make more software engineering related tutorials on this channel to share my information and knowledge as much as I possibly can. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Till I see you guys in another tutorial, this is Mohit Lodi signing off.